what is martial arts? Well, at face value, it's various sports or skills mainly of Japanese origin that originated as forms of self-defense or attack, such as judo, karate, and kendo. Thank you, Google. That's not really helpful for what I'm trying to say, though. A better question is, why is martial arts? For millennia, people have been fighting, and I didn't really understand the appeal of it. I found the notion of fighting to be a little silly and kind of boring. My brother, however, he's infatuated with martial arts. So enamored did he become that he started training to make it to the UFC. In an attempt to understand this competition, I entered Island Martial Arts, the school my brother trains at. In order to understand martial arts, I have to introduce you to the masters.
Hi, I'm Master Pete from Island Martial Arts.
My name is Ted Sims. I am a student at Island Martial Arts. I train in Taekwondo, Judo, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
I'm Anthony Nobusa. I've been going to Island Martial Arts for, I think, 10 years.
For Master Pete, fighting has been his entire life, training for an outstanding 35 years.
I've been doing martial arts since I was a little kid. Started with Taekwondo when I was really young. Went into a system called Vada Kempo. Went into another system called Goju-Ryu. Did kickboxing in the 1990s. I met up with Super Bill Wallace, world champion middleweight of the world. Joe Louis Fighting Systems. Joe Louis himself, trained under him. Today I hold 4th degree in Joe's system and 2nd in Bill Wallace's system. Studied Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for about 6 years now, and the black belt in Korean Krav Maga. To me, it's my whole life. When I was a little kid, I always wanted to be, martial arts and a heavy equipment operator. So I've actually accomplished, I have 36 years in with the Department of Transportation in New York City. Getting ready to retire in 1 more year, and mastered heavy equipment and mastered karate.
When I first got in, Master Mike and Master Pete heavily encouraged me, even though in my head I doubted, but always made sure I was able to do things. His approach is somewhat of a spin of the old school Kung Fu masters in a way.
At my time visiting Island Martial Arts, I kept hearing the name Joe Louis.
His opponent is the ferocious Mr. Joe Louis.
And I understand that he enjoys the reputation in karate that Joe Louis enjoyed in boxing, right?
That's right. Joe's name, however, is spelled Lewis, and he has fought in 8 full contact matches before kickboxing, and no one has gone through the second round with him. He has knocked everyone out in either the first or the second round.
Island Martial Arts is one of the very few schools teaching the Joe Louis fighting system. If you're like me, you have no clue what that means. So what is the Joe Louis fighting system?
The Joe Louis fighting systems is basically, he trained in karate, I believed, about 8 months, and he formed his fighting style off of boxing and karate. At the time, it was very unique.
It's a kickboxing system. Right now it's run by President Phil Maldonado. They come here 2 or 3 times a year. We do the mid-year conference here. I'm the official New York City training center for it. Joe Louis was the only person ever to hold world champion in kickboxing and karate at the same time. He was a genius. His system still, has over 100 members in it today. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2012. He's been voted many a times as the greatest fighter of all time.
He was one of the founders and debatably one of the fathers of American kickboxing.
As to me, he was more than just, a martial arts, instructor. He was a personal friend, spent hours and hours on the phone talking to him all the time. Life lessons taught me. Excellent person, great leader, and awesome, greatest fighter of all time.
After hearing all these names and getting all the technical terminology, I'm gaining knowledge, but I still didn't understand what the appeal of martial arts is. So I tried to be straightforward about it.
I do it because I just love it. It helps for body, for brain, for minds, for everything. Keeps me going. It's definitely a part of my life. It always will be. You know what? That starts, what things could be like a movie, a lot of the younger generation like, to see, all the self-defenses, straightening out bullies.
It was my grandfather. He told me stories when he was a teenager, when he was a brown belt at judo, and also when I was watching the Bruce Lee films, Jackie Chan, the Rocky movies, and Terminator. And I just saw these people and I'm like, man, I could just be like that. And a 7-year-old's head is just phenomenal. I'm capable of doing judo like my grandfather. He was like a father. It's very hard to say when you're not in that position, but the lessons and the stories formed it. When he passed, I wanted to be like, give in, but when I finally made money, I was like, you know what, let me do it. Don't let me cave into depression, this, that, whatever. Let me put my life back on track. And some people in similar circumstances or worse comes to martial arts where other things have failed.
My grandfather was the only father figure me and my brother had. He served in the United States Navy from 1966 to 1971 during the Vietnam War period. A lot of my family remember him as this war hero, but that's not how I remember him. He had a big collection of DVDs, and I would sit down with him and watch cowboy movies and pro wrestling pay-per-views. I grew in love with them, and I hold on to them for sentimental reasons. I still vividly remember his joyous reaction at showing me every scene of A Fistful of Dollars, or how excited he would be to have me watch WWF Attitude Era and ECW tapes. I hope to one day make a spaghetti western, and I've already started my pro wrestling docuseries. What I never considered was that my brother could have similar memories. He walked up the same stairs as me, sat in the same chair, and watched different movies with the same man. Me and him are both products of our upbringing and our environments, and although we have had very different reactions to these living conditions, we were both walking down a path our grandpa set us down. This will probably be the only time our paths cross. I now understand the appeal of martial arts. Although I personally wouldn't watch any competitions, I could say I've grown to respect them.
I like to argue it's the oldest form of language. Whatever separates us from countries, religion, skin tones, weight, it's the one thing that truly unites us as human beings.
A lot of children we have, autistic kids and, children with needs, building up their bodies, their minds, and their souls.
I was diagnosed with dyslexia, and it was hard for me to read, and it was very frustrating, difficult, this, that, whatever. I was able to only really learn with my hands. I felt like, in a way, fighting was an extension of that. Training, preparing, and it really was. There's always a mountain to climb, and we all have a calling. We're all human beings at the end of the day. We all have our own opponents. You're not defeating your opponent. You're defeating your own limits. And those limits are placed by you. It's all in the mind. When you defeat yourself, you can defeat anything imaginable.
Before I conclude, there's something I'd like to share. When I was at Island Martial Arts, I found a newspaper article on the wall, and I think this perfectly explains the appeal of martial arts.
And I have mild cerebral palsy, and I am a second-degree black belt.
Antonino came to me. He liked to do Zen Jiu-Jitsu because he was, had very little leg function.
What inspired me to begin martial arts was that I wasn't going to physical therapy, so I figured, I have to do something else. So I came up with the idea of enrolling at a martial arts school, which was Island Martial Arts 10 years ago. And I started out doing the trial class. When I earned my black belt, my first degree, I can remember Master Pete saying, the black belt is not the end, it's just the beginning.
And I had him do some Taekwondo programs, try to build up his legs. He told me that he didn't think it was good for him, told him to please give it a shot.
I kept telling Master Pete, I can't do this, because of my legs.
We worked with him, we stretched him every day, we made his legs stronger and stronger. He was walking with a cane when he got here. Now he walks about 2 blocks to his house every day. While he was a student here, his mom, took care of him and his brother. And, his mom actually got really sick, went to the hospital, never came out. So he had his mind straightened out too. We helped with that too.
So I'm looking just to keep going. I take one of my belts and I will stretch my leg by myself like a physical therapist would do. I'm looking to work on my 3rd degree black belt, which I have been doing on and off. I have a Bachelor's of Science degree in psychology from St. John's University, and then a Master's of Science in Adolescent Education from the College of Staten Island. Currently, I'm in Texas working at a special needs camp as a cabin counselor. So I'm helping campers, realize their full potential. They have some developmental disability, and then others have intellectual disabilities. And it's all about helping others. And I've learned this concept in all of my years that I've been going to Island Martial Arts. As Mr. Pete always says, work with what you have, the abilities that you could put into action. So I've learned just to keep going. Pretty much, I like to serve others to make this world a better place.
I honestly feel like everybody should do martial arts. We have kids that come in here with ADHD, they don't have a 1-second attention span. 1 month later, they're super focused, doing forms, doing straightening stuff. We have all kids that come in, they have no confidence at all. They're afraid to do things, they don't want to take chances. They come here, a month later, they have a lot of confidence. Builds up everything.
If you have the money and the time and you want to have the determination, experience a little bit of how to defend yourself, which you should, find a Taekwondo place, Muay Thai, BJJ, other known as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, boxing, kickboxing. Go do it. Experience it. It's never too late to learn a martial art because a lot of people's excuses are, oh, I'm too old, I'm too fat. It doesn't matter. The opportunity will happen. Are you prepared for it?
That's just one of many stories the world of martial arts has. Martial arts tells us a lot about the human spirit. It shows us our unwillingness to give up, or in other words, keep fighting. Randy. Yeah? Staring at me? Come up here.